Hey everyone, today I'm here to do a book review of the young adult contemporary novel called 13 Reasons Why by J. Asher. Now I'll first start out with the plot, and I'll just say that everything I'm about to tell you, you can read on the back of the book and you will discover in the first few pages, so this is not spoilers. And the basic plot is that a boy in high school named Clay receives a bunch of cassette tapes from a girl who had previously committed suicide in the school, whose name was Hannah, and he is asked to listen to the story. And these tapes are being passed around by 13 individuals. Each of them is part of her story, and essentially each person is supposed to be one of the reasons why she is committing suicide. As you can see by what I'm holding, I did listen to this as an audiobook. Even if you're not a huge audiobook fan, I definitely recommend trying to get a copy of this. The reason I recommend listening to this as an audiobook is, of course, the main character Clay is actually listening to the voice of Hannah tell her story through a series of cassette tapes. And since that is intended to be an audio experience, I think that an audiobook is a perfect fit for a book like this. In terms of the story, I was initially very concerned that a story like this might be seen as perhaps even inspirational to suicidal teens, particularly ones who are contemplating suicide because of bullying. Having finished the book, I'm less concerned about that. I think the author did a pretty good job of not glamorizing her suicide. Now, I'm going to talk just briefly about the reasons, the 13 reasons why. I'm not going to go into any detail as to what they were. However, I don't know how to do this review without talking in general about them. So if you are extremely sensitive to spoilers, you can, click off now and just know that it's a very compelling book, very interesting. If you are interested in it just from the premise, I definitely recommend checking it out. It's quite interesting. But I am going to talk just a little bit about the reasons in general, and for some people that could be considered a spoiler, so just as a heads up. In terms of the reasons, I didn't think any of them were good enough reasons to commit suicide. And perhaps that's part of what J. Asher, the author, wanted, was maybe I realized that maybe he didn't want to come up with reasons that were good enough to commit suicide, because honestly there's, no reason good enough to end your life regardless of how terrible other people are being. And that also comes to my other criticism, that I feel that this book requires a bit of suspension of disbelief. In terms of just the general setup of someone to take the time to record all of these tapes and have them be passed around in this secretive way, I do think that, in reality there would be a breakdown in the process. And I also felt that if Hannah, the girl who committed suicide, had all of this anger and fighting power as she wrote these tapes, that it doesn't almost make sense to have someone who had that much vigor in her life to create this big revenge and to show people what they had done to her. I felt like if she had that much life and fight still left in her, it seemed strange to have her giving up and just letting go of her life. I was actually quite impressed by this one. I did end up giving it 4 stars on Goodreads by the end of it. I felt this was a well put together book, and considering I am well past high school, I think it was still quite a powerful read and a good reminder for those who might be around someone who is showing signs of suicide. And that essentially is what I think I realized by the end of the book. This is not a book intended to be read by someone who perhaps is having suicidal thoughts himself. This is for all those people around them who may be missing the signs. I thought it was a good read, not the best perfect read of the year, but absolutely an interesting one, and I really enjoyed reading it. That's about all. Everyone have a good one. I'll talk to you later. Okay, bye.